Hey, in this section, we're going to talk about how to plan your growth and understand how big of an audience do you actually need to get the amount of sales that you came up with in the last worksheet. And so if you haven't done that, go back and do that part now. If you haven't done it yet and you refuse to do that, you will still be able to work on this a little bit. So one of the things or the formulas that we use when we're thinking through planning is this three-stage formula. You could imagine it as a sales funnel or a progression, but customers and clients tend to move left to right from eyeballs. They first learned about your brand, saw it for the first time, to they're hooked and they're interested and engaged and they follow you and they know who you are and you come to mind. And then people who know about you buy stuff from you. And different people move through this process more quickly than others, but in general, we found as a good rule of thumb, we can stick to this 1% conversion rate between each of those stages. So for every person who comes across our logo or our brand, 1% of those people will be interested or care about what we're doing. And of the people who care, 1% of those will buy something from us or turn into a lead or an inquiry if we're a service based business. And it's just a nice way, 1%, it's not a rule, it's just a way for us to plan how big of an audience do we actually need. So to go back to the examples used in the worksheet, first off, imagine that photographer example, and let's say we need 15 clients every month to make enough money that as we'd like to make, which means that is 1,500 people who are engaged with our brand. And so we might measure that as Instagram followers or Facebook fans or people who return and come back to our website from time to time, or how many people are on our email list. It's probably all a combination of those things, but that's a good number to hover around, which means if we think of that 1% again out to the eyeballs stage, that we need 150,000 people to see us or for our brand to just come across their faces in a given month. Again, you can succeed and get a lot of wealth and grow with getting in front of less strangers than that. This isn't also taking into account that if you get really good at closing new business, or if the marketing that you're doing is so compelling that 2% of people engage with your brand rather than 1%. So it's just a way of planning. Usually when I do this with folks, they either feel like, gosh, that's way too many people, or they get excited and they're like, gosh, I think I can really do this. So this was the photographer example. If we go back to the apparel example that I used, imagine we needed 100 customers every month to hit all of our goals that we're trying to hit, or to get us to the place we want our business to be, which means we would need 10,000 people engaged with our brand, following along. They know us, we come to mind, they can remember us when somebody asks about them, which means we would need about 1 million people to see us. So that's using that 1%. All the way through those stages, which might seem like a lot, might seem like a little bit, just depends on what size of business you're in. Our buddy Mike Albert would say the difference between these two is really just the gross margin. What kind of gross margin is there on selling one item, one thing? So now it's time for you to plan. How are you going to get in front of the right strangers who don't know about you yet, but they should know about you? How are you going to engage with the people who like your brand, the people who are hooked? And then how are you going to close sales? So you can hop into the comments. Would be super curious to hear what some of your numbers are as far as what you're planning around. And again, this is something your business needs to grow to, but 1% is just a really useful planning tool. I've seen it play out pretty directly in a lot of our clients' lives and businesses, and have found it to just be really useful. So hop into the comments, share your numbers, and let me know if you have any questions. We'll be happy to answer them there. Peace.